All right, I think we are live right now. I'll just give a couple of minutes for um, some of you to come on to this show, to this session, this Q&A session. I received a lot of questions from you. Some are really good ones, and I think it's pretty common among the parents that I've been working on supporting. And I believe that it will be very beneficial to those of you listening in right now. Excuse me. All right, it's already 10:32 my clock. I think I'll just go ahead and start. Hello and welcome to uh, Ask Sarah Anything. Right? Yeah, Ask Sarah Anything session, live Q&A session, which I've just started introducing. This is my first ever session, and the reason why I want to do this is because I want to reach out to you and really answering your questions in person, because sometimes you would love to come to my talk and listen to all the tips that I have to share, but sometimes you don't, or you're not able to attend at the time, and the time is not right, the place is too far, whatever the reason may be. So I'm offering this platform to you so that you can meet me live in person. So who am I? My name is Sarah Ong. I'm a certified baby sleep coach, a certified breastfeeding counselor as well. And I've appeared in several media such as The Star, Harian Metro, Bella on NTV7, Parenthood Magazine, and even Health Today, to name a few. I am also the founder of sleepchampbaby.com, is what you can see at the bottom here. That's my website where I operate most of my inquiries in businesses, and blogs are all in that. All right. So a little bit of myself. Um, Maybe some of you are already familiar with this story, but it is a story about how I got to come to this profession and how I learned to have so much passion and love for it. Is all due to my own experience with my own sleep deprivation when my second baby arrived. So when she arrived, and I was very excited about wanting to make breastfeeding really successful with her. And by successful, I mean exclusively breastfeeding for the first 6 months. So I went on doing the same things that I do usually, or what other moms do. That they nurse their baby to sleep, that they comfort the baby on the breast, and it seems like it's the easiest and the best way to do it. So I thought, so this has to be like a superpower that breastfeeding moms have, that you're able to um, breastfeed lying down and still get sleep. And that's what I did for the first 6 months. And then, but the feeding just went on, excuse me, for quite a while. I think she was 6 months and she was still feeding maybe about every 1.5 to 2 hours. And this went on for 16 months of her life. Um, and so I thought that this was not going to, she was not going to grow out of it, because she was already having solids, and she would be, she was started mixed feeding later on in, after when she has reached toddlerhood. So I knew that it wasn't hungry, because it was just the way that she fed. It was more of a comfort nursing rather than a real need to feed. So for those of you who have just joining, welcome. Welcome to my first live Q&A session. And I have a few questions that have already been submitted to me. So thank you for that. And now I would love for us to get right into it. And if you are listening to me right now and you also have a question, I believe that you can see like a sort of like a Rubik cube at the top of your screen, and you can click on it and go to ask your question or Q&A button right there. And so you can ask your question as well. So let's go right into the questions. I have received a couple. I will go with a mom, Nani. Okay, so Nani asked, I'm struggling with my almost 3-year-old daughter. She will be 3 in October. I'm still nursing her to sleep for naps and nights too. It's a struggle because I'm so tired. She will wake up at night looking for my breast, and we had to resort to Buayan since she was 6 months old because I had to rock her to sleep and she's a light sleeper. I need to wean her off both from my breast and the buayan. Help! This girl is one determined little lady and it can be a nightmare just imagining how it's going to be. So which one should I wean off first, the buayan or the breast? All right. Very good question because there seems to be like a combination of how your baby is put to sleep, Nani. And she is also 3 years old. And anything that's above a year old, usually nursing is not the main source of nutrition for babies. Usually food and other source of nutrition would be her main source of nutrition, and milk would just then be like a addition to what she's taking. And I think taking milk for even up till 10 years old is fine with me. So the problem that you're facing right now is that she wakes up at night looking for your breast, and then you also have to resort to buayan. So I'm not sure what exactly is happening between the breastfeeding and the buayan, and how is she put into the buayan. Is it after she falls asleep on the breast, or does she get up and would she get up from the buoyant to come back and breastfeed? So that would be something that I want to know more. But your question is, which one should I wean off first, the buoyant or the breast? In this instance, I would think that the buoyant may be a better option, because the buoyant is something that is away from you, and then the breast is on you. So it's easier to just wean off the things that are, from the external things. And right now, it's the motion from the buoyant that's putting her to sleep. So I really suggest that you want to try and take the motion away. And then when yes, she will fast and she will cry, because this is not the way she, wants to stay asleep or goes to sleep. But there, with a toddler and a preschooler, even setting a loving limits around something that we don't want them to continue is very vital in how you are going to go on with living with each other in harmony, and not always addressing her needs without meeting your needs. And 3 years old is, I believe that's been quite a while, and I can't imagine how tired you must be feeling, Nani. But what I'm saying is that I think perhaps you want to try to wean off the buoyant first, and then once she's okay with that, and then simultaneously work on not nursing as well. Or you could do no buoyant, and then once she's okay with that, and then move on to weaning off the breast. Okay, and how to do that? It it takes a little bit more theory that you need to understand into why she uses breastfeeding, and why the motion is needed, which I won't be able to answer everything in this session. But I think it would be good for you to start reading up on the things that I do on my courses. I have that free mini course, Sound Secrets to Sound Sleep mini course. which I highly suggest if you haven't already subscribed to that. It's free, by the way. So yes, I would suggest that you stop weaning off the buayan and support her while she's having her tantrum that she's not going into the buayan anymore. And then you can nurse her if you'd like, because we're not going to focus on weaning off the nursing right now. And then once she's settled with no buayan, you can now look into weaning her off from the breast. Okay. The next question is from Tatiana. Every time that my boy goes to bed, I lay down with him in bed. He is now taking the habit of playing with my elbows and joints. Why is this happening? Is this normal? How can I stop him from doing this? Looks like he's not able to fall asleep without this. Okay, very cute and interesting question. This reminds me of a mom who came to me and she got my support from a private consultation where she told me that she had, I mean, her son who was already 3 and he needed to have to play with her elbows as well. You know, she would just rub and or she might pin or he might have pinch it and play and twist it, and so it got to a point where it got really annoying to the mother after a while, and she really wanted this to stop. So I believe, Tatiana, you are also at the stage where it seems like it has come to be a habit for him to, in order for him to fall asleep. Um, because I believe this is your son is already a toddler. Again, setting loving limits. If you don't like for him to be playing with that and it's not a real necessity for him to fall asleep playing with your elbow and joints, then put a living loving limits to it. Okay, so tell your son that we're going to sleep tonight, but we're not going to have you play with my elbow. I'm going to hold your hand instead. And yes, that might again induce some crying, but the crying is something that tells you that there's something else that underneath, underlying. There are some feelings that he has, some painful feelings or maybe stress that he might be going through, that's causing him to want to use this new habit of trying to lull himself into sleep. And then when that's taken away, he's gonna feel all his feelings. He's gonna, all those feelings underneath is just gonna come up again, and then you're going to see him crying. Okay, so um, it's normal if, let's say, you have recently, uh, either you have recently weaned him off something. Maybe if you have been breastfeeding, or if he had taken the pacifier and then you have stopped him from pacifier, he was used to that and now he's looking for another control pattern. Remember, I talked about this control pattern as well a lot in my blog post, where control pattern actually repress something that we do to repress feelings, something that we do to distract feelings, our true feelings. So it could be upset feelings, it could be stress, it could be something that we are trying not to think about, something that really upsets us, but we try to repress it by maybe eating. For adults, we eat, we go on Facebook, right, scrolling nonstop, or we would actually go in, watch endless TV. But whatever that may be for your son, it could be that this habit of elbows and joints is actually one of the reasons why he is now doing this. So it's not exactly normal, but I know lots of toddlers who've done that. If it's not the elbow, it's the earlobe, it's the hair twirling, it's the playing with the toes. It is that rigid something that they need to have in order to fall asleep. Then perhaps there may be some control pattern going on there. So how do you stop it? Again, introduce loving limits. You would put your hand gently on his hand that's reaching out for your elbow, and tell him that tonight I am going to help you to sleep, and I'm going to help you sleep by, holding your hands instead. And he might not like it because he wants to go for that, but it is something that you would have to put a stop by introducing loving limit to it, and then welcome all that crying and support him throughout until he manages to fall back asleep. Excuse me. um, okay, so for those of you who have just joined, and if you have a question, I would encourage you to do so by clicking on, I believe there is a Rubik cube at the top of your screen, and then there is a Q&A button there, and it will take you to a window where you can post your question here, and I will be seeing it here on my right side of my screen. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Emma asks, my son just went through a week of his pacifier. So he's been having problems sleeping by himself like he used to unless he's really tired. He's been throwing a lot of tantrums and screaming lately. I don't know if that's because of his no pacifier. How do others deal with weaning off pacifier? Any suggestions would really help. All right, so it's the same as the scenario earlier where I talked about control pattern being the elbow, but now it seems that the pacifier is what he uses to repress feelings. So whenever he feels some upset going on, and I'm not sure how the pacifier was being used. Was it being used for just sleep, or was it used a lot throughout during the day? And any of those any time that you use the pacifier to stop crying, to distract his feelings, then you will see that he might be very dependent on that pacifier. And when you wean him off, you are going to encounter a lot of those repressed feelings coming up, and they come out really in a form of crying and raging, like he's fully angry with you that you took the pacifier away. And you can see then that there's a lot of tantrums as well, throwing tantrums, and nothing seems to be right throughout the day. This is also normal because he's used to having that pacifier in a mouth. When there's something in your mouth, or if you have a child who sucks her thumb, you don't actually get to cry because there's something in your mouth, and then feelings don't come out that way. So that, again, that's one of the reasons why he's throwing a lot of tantrums. And my suggestion would be, whenever he goes into this tantrums, whenever he goes into this meltdown, I would really recommend that you stay with him and support that crying, and really acknowledging that I hear you, I'm right here. It's so hard without the pacifier. You really, really want it, but we're not going to do that. You're not going to have that anymore. Right here, okay, and just help him get through with it. And then the question I get from Felmo, I believe. Hi, Sarah. According to your Secrets to Sound Sleep mini course, part 3. Okay, so she has gone through, excuse me, she has gone through my mini course. You said constantly reassured her by touches, strokes, and cuddles. I tried giving this to my boy during the night, but he insisted to lift up my shirt and asks for my boobs since he's now 15 months old and learned to demand. Okay, so there's many variations to this. The questions that I'm receiving, there's many variations. It's about getting the yes, it's good that you are constantly reassuring your boy with touches and strokes and cuddles, but you're also forgetting the other side to it, which is putting a loving limit, putting a stop to that behavior. You don't like him to be lifting your boobs and helping himself. Perhaps you might want to wear a long night dress where it's much harder for him to access. Or you could just tell him upright that no, yeah, I won't let you do that. I'm right here. I'm just going to help you. We're not going to nurse tonight. This is something that we're going to do differently tonight, and I'm going to help you. Okay, I'm right here. I'm going to help you, and you're going to fall asleep with me right here next to you. All right. And also, the next question that I also get is from Shannon. Okay, this is a little bit more broad, nothing very specific. Shannon asks, how to successfully put my baby to deep sleep at ease in a short time so that she won't wake up after I place her down? All right. I think this is generally what every parent, what every mom wants to know how to do, right? And I believe she also probably have a baby that wakes frequently and takes forever to sleep, and and then she probably wakes up frequently, very early as well. And there is another question by Sharon, who has an 18-month. I'm just putting these two together so then I can, answer them at once. So Sharon asked that she has an 18-month who seems to be going through a regression. She'll take more time to fall asleep. Used to take her 15 minutes to fall asleep for naps, but now it takes 30 minutes. Nighttime's worse. It can take up to 1 hour to fall asleep. Sometimes she will even cry. Number two is that when she wakes up in the night, she takes longer to fall back asleep. Sometimes it can take 1 hour. And she used to wake up at 7 consistently, but now she wakes up earlier, 6:15, 6:30, to request for nursing and fall back asleep. So she's wondering if there's an 18-month-old regression. All right. So a little bit about the approach that I do, just a little bit of theory here so that I can answer your question much better, Sharon and Shannon. The theory that I have been working on, the approach is that when a child, or when our baby or toddler or even young children have a lot of difficulties with sleep, difficulty with behavior in the daytime, lots of tantrums and upsets, and being very difficult with certain things, not wanting to be sitting on a chair, for example, or wanting the blue spoon and not the purple spoon. It usually shows there are symptoms that they have pent up feelings. They might have either a stressful experience earlier, or they may have a trauma earlier, or it could be something small like a developmental milestone, for example, and she hasn't really quite mastered it yet. And these are all factors that put into the whole stress. And this is something that I cover a lot in my workshops and in my consultation, as well as my talks, that babies do have stress. They do. And so these stresses, and fear and painful feelings, they get accumulated. And then sometimes you just need, and our natural mechanism, our body's natural mechanism would then want to get rid of it, want to discharge all these yucky feelings and upset, painful feelings. And what our children usually do is they cry. Okay, they throw tantrums. When they throw tantrums, it means that there's a problem, that they don't feel good inside, and they need your help to make him, or her, feel better again. So, your question is on taking a long time to fall asleep, waking up sometimes even to play for hours, and then taking a long time to go back to sleep. Or it takes a long time to fall asleep at bedtime, stalling and wanting to not go to sleep and play. So these are actually signs to show that they want to connect with you. Again, the connection is really important. I would want to go into, I would invite you to look into how much connection you're providing. I know every day you see your baby, you're connecting with your baby, but again, how much playtime, how much present time do you offer to your baby, that one-on-one time? Whether there's enough crying and supporting that you can help with during the day. I know sometimes you have limitations around allowing your baby to cry, but trusting that natural mechanism, that wanting to cry, that needing to cry before sleep, is something that you want to listen to a little bit more, focus on that a little bit more. So how to successfully put my baby to deep sleep is for your baby to be relaxed, be in a relaxed state to sleep. There are a couple of ways that we help our babies to relax. One is to bypass this natural mechanism, which means we nurse them to sleep, we rock them to sleep, we use pacifier, we use buayan, we pat them, or whatever the thing is that helps them to sleep. So we're actually stopping them to bypassing this natural mechanism to take over because we don't trust it. We don't believe crying is a necessity in order to relax. Therefore, we help them. So that's fine. That's like 99.99% of what parents do out there. And but then when the body is not completely relaxed, because you help them get into that relaxed state in order to sleep. But what happens when your baby comes into that light sleep again? That light sleep cycle would then cause your baby to wake fully again, and that natural mechanism of wanting to discharge this painful and stress and whatever upset feelings that they may have will come up again. And then you're going to help them bypass all these things again and then help them relax to go to sleep. So if you had allowed that natural mechanism, which is the playing or the crying, whatever cues that your child is showing you, allow this to happen, and then you will see that they are more relaxed. A lot of parents who have tried this, say, okay, that makes sense, and I want to try it. They usually see that every 1 hour waking stretches to about 3 hours. Some even up to 4, 5 hours. And I think most of you are just so thankful with 4 or 5 hour stretch of sleep, right? And not waking every hour or even half an hour because your baby seems to be crying many, many times. So there's a whole, step by step process to it. But in a nutshell, listening to the feelings, setting limits, feelings come up, listen to those feelings, and then they will try again to do that thing that they want to do, which is nursing or wanting the pacifier or wanting to leave the room to play. Put a limit to that, saying that I hear you, you really want to play, or I hear you, you want to go outside. I hear you, you want to you want to nurse, but we're not going to do that. I won't let you reach your hand into my shirt, for example, and put a limit to it. And then feelings come up again, and then again listen to those feelings. Okay, so next question. Okay, so this question from Angeline. Hi, Sarah. My baby about to turn 6 months old been regressing on her sleep. She's been refusing to take her morning nap. That used to be a breeze. At times she will cry. Most often she plays in her cot and often interrupted by her poop. And her night sleep, she wakes up for nursing and will take her 2 minutes to fall back to sleep. All right. 6 months old baby regressing, refusing to take her morning nap. Okay. Of course, I would have to know a lot more about what's going on in the daytime. Generally, a 6 month old baby would need about 3 naps a day. Some actually do up to 4 naps, depending on the duration of naps that your baby does. For example, if your baby does like a short 30 to 45 minutes nap, then she may need a 4 naps in total. If she's the type who does a long nap, like for half an hour, 1 hour or slightly more, then she probably needs 2 of those long naps and 1 cat nap for the third nap to kind of um, not offset, to recharge just a little bit and then to go down to bed. If she has been refusing to her morning nap, I would want to look at how long the week window is, and if you are able to see the cues that if she's showing the times that she's really tired but she's just refusing, and at times she will cry. I would then again observe for a few days and see whether she will need a longer awake time now that she's getting older. But usually at 6 months of age, 2 to 2.5 hours of a week window in the morning would be a time where she would start feeling sleepy again after waking up from the day. Okay, so and if she is crying, that she tends to cry to sleep, it usually doesn't mean that she does not want to sleep. Okay, believe me, all babies want to sleep when they're tired, but sometimes these feelings get in the way of get to relax. So they either wanting to connect with you through playing, through laughter, to release the fear, to release the tension, or they just need a good cry in your arms, in your presence. Okay, so try that. Try to listen to the feelings that come up, the crying that she tells you. And Felmo again. Okay, I did like what you said, telling him I'll be with him, but he just refused to go back to sleep unless with my breast. Should I just stand firm or try another hour or more and give in and try again next night? All right. So I'm all about compassion, right? I'm all about compassion for what you do, what other parents do with their baby. To me, there's no right or wrong. Everything that we do is what we feel that's best for our baby. And in your situation, you don't want him to nurse, but yet you don't have the heart, perhaps, or you're just not resourceful enough to be listening to that crying anymore, or you're just tired yourself and you can't put up with it. Whatever that reason may be, I have so much compassion for all that you do for your son. So with that said, when I help moms, when I support them, yes, it's all about listening to feelings and the crying, but the crying really does trigger our own emotions as well. Perhaps, we're tired, we don't want to listen, or it could be that the crying triggers our childhood memory of how we were responded to when we were children, when we were young, and how you actually value feelings. Do you take time to nourish yourself, to really listen to yourself, respect yourself, and giving yourself some self-love, in that sense, to give you some time to yourself, away from the baby, just your own me time. So whatever that thing that's going on for you, I like how you do with you. Should I just stand firm? If you have the resources, means someone is maybe your husband or daddy can help, and that you're standing firm that you're no longer nursing tonight, we're not going to do that anymore, and then having daddy to step in to help as well. If you could do that, sure, stand firm. But if you don't have the resources, and this is it's been going on for so long, and you mentioned that try another hour or more and give in and try again next night. Yeah. So if let's say tonight you want to try it, and then it has gone on for say an hour, right? It's gone on and on and on and crying, and he's going to slow down, and he picks up again and he slow down, and he goes on for an hour, and you don't know how long this is going to go, and you don't feel like you can listen or accept those feelings with love and empathy anymore. Then yes, go ahead and just nurse and tell him that I know you have a lot more to express, but right now I just need you to. I'm not going to nurse you. I'm concerned you might be thirsty. Or I'm concerned, or I'm just too tired right now. Let's try again another night. Okay, so there's no right or wrong, or oh, you're gonna fail, and if you don't do this tonight, you're gonna start all over again tomorrow. So give yourself lots of compassion when you do this. It's not easy. On theory, it does sound easy. I thought, oh yeah, sure, listen to my baby's feelings. It's not that easy. Okay, so it's okay. It's either you want to stand firm. Okay, if you are very resourceful with it and you wish to do so, go ahead, stand firm and tell him, and then you're just going to be right there. And then, of course, he's going to be refusing to go back to sleep for a while until his body is relaxed enough to in order for him to fall back asleep. All right. Okay, so if those of you again who may have just come onto this window, this session, I invite you to post your question. Again, you find that the Rubik cube at the top of your screen, and then there's a Q&A button, and then you'll be able to post your question. All right, let's go on to the following question. Okay. So Ida asks, we just moved in to a new house recently, and my 6 year old, okay, this is a lot older, my 6 year old would come into our room in the night. So she would be sleeping half of the night in her bed, in her own bedroom. And then half the night she would come in and join us in our bed, and she leaves her baby sister in the room. How do I help her gain confidence again, so that she will be able to sleep through and stay asleep through the night? All right. So there's obviously a big stress here. You know, a big stress here would be a new change. There's it's a new house, new bedroom. It's probably a little bit scary for a child, you know, who hasn't probably getting used to this new bedroom of hers and sleeping away. I'm not sure if they were sleeping together before or not. But if you have been, say for example, bed sharing or room sharing, and then you move to a new house, and then you start to have new bedrooms and new sleeping arrangement and separate from each other, they might be a little bit scary for a child to go through. Uh, Maybe for a baby, and even for a 6 year old, and maybe even, you know, sometimes when I go to a hotel room, if I had to travel alone, it would be very hard for me to fall asleep because I'm not used to the room. And you kind of have all these scary thoughts and scary ideas. And being children, they have a lot of imagination, so they may have a lot of scary thoughts and scary feelings about going to sleep in their own room. So with older children, I do encourage a lot of attachment play. What it means here is that attachment play is a concept coined in aware parenting. Aware parenting is what I use my approach mostly on. So attachment play has different categories. There's power reversal, there's contingency, there's games that can help to discipline in a fun way and not yelling and scolding and punishment or timeouts. And to overcome fear of loud sound, fear of new things, fear of darkness. So any fear or stress, you can also use attachment play. So it seems that she probably has a lot of powerlessness about, you know, moving house, although she may be excited about it, but there's still that, oh, I don't like to move here, I don't have a choice, but I've been put into this room, this bedroom, and there's a lot of powerlessness that comes with it. There's also fear, there's also a lot of uncertainty. So I would suggest a lot of physical games with her, with your daughter. It could be before bedtime, it could be at any time during the day, and spend this maybe half an hour if you can. Half an hour just to play physically with her. Any power reversal games, such as a pillow fight, for example. So in power reversal games, adults are the slower ones, the more stupid one. In you're not fast enough, and you're always amazed at how they do things. So that's a kind of power reversal games that's going to help your child be confident again, and she's going to laugh at your silliness because you're going to get really goofy and silly. And for example, like the pillow fight I mentioned, like this is what I usually play with my 7 year old sometimes. What we do is that we take the pillows. In fact, we play with these pillows right here. This is what we do when she wants to go into when I give her present time and I ask her what she wants to play. So sometimes pillow fight comes up quite a number of times. And so we would say that, okay, so I would hit her gently and she would hit me back. And I would fall dramatically to the floor and said, "How did you do that? That was really hard." And so she would giggle, and first it starts off with giggle, and then she would go again and whack me and whack me. I'll fall again and again and again. And sometimes I will roll around on the floor, doing really goofy and exaggerated actions. Okay, and she loves it. She loves being in power to kind of whack me down, and that gives her that sense of power again. So at any time, even if you have a toddler or a 3-year-old, when they have a lot of helplessness around or powerlessness around any situation, which they do a lot actually, because we basically control their lives, right? We are in charge of what they eat and where they go, where they sit, what time they eat, and all that. So there's a lot of powerlessness in children. So power reversal games help a lot. And playing in the room itself would actually create a positive association about staying in a room. There's nothing scary about being there. You get laughter going. You can even play rough and tumble. I know daddies are better at playing with our babies, but please just try it. Just be goofy like how your husband or how daddy plays with your child, and be extra goofier on top of that. Make it extra dramatic, and that's what your child is looking for, that connection and laughing and being silly with them, and saying that, mocking that, how did you do that, and say for example another game that I play with my 4-year-old, who used to have a lot of I used to have a lot of difficulty with her in the mornings because she would refuse to shower, to get ready for school, and it would just delay everything. Okay, so it used to be that I would do that whole power over, and yell and tell her that if you don't do this, this is gonna happen. But I find that it drags things even more. So what I do now is I introduce games. Let's see who gets upstairs first. And then I'll say that I'm gonna be the winner. Yeah, I'm gonna be the winner. And then I'll go slowly up the stairs, but with this face determination that I really want to be first. And she sees that, and she sees oh no, I'm gonna beat you to this. And she goes, no, 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 it's me. And she goes upstairs after breakfast. And then she says, I win. I say, yeah, how did you do that? You always win. I can never beat you at this game. Okay, so, and then it's time to put on clothes. Now she has this thing where she will not will not put on her clothes after she takes her shower, and she likes to roll around bed naked. And I'll be like, okay, we're in a rush here, we need to get yourself dressed. So then I introduced the game where I would hold her shirt up, and then I would twist it around and say, you can never catch this, you can never catch this. Oh no, you don't. No, you're not gonna do that. So excuse me. So what happens is, of course, I'll be putting it lower so that she can actually catch it, which will make it a little bit harder for her. And then she catches it, and I say, ha ha, I did it. Okay, so she has to put on that clothes. Okay, so again, it's not always about the sleep thing that we need to look at. It's about what is happening overall in your child's life. Has your baby gone through, say, hospitalization? Did you travel recently? Was there a new caregiver? Okay, these are the things that might affect sleep. It's not just the sleeping association or nursing to sleep. That's something that you are only focusing on, but it's really about meeting their needs, the emotional well-being. Are you meeting their needs for happy and safe and secure sleep? Are you supporting them when they need to relax, and really trusting that natural mechanism to relax? All right. So we again. So how you can work with me more if you haven't been a client already, or you haven't actually attended my workshop. I do have several ways that you can get help. So there's the free mini course called Secrets to Sound Sleep. You can get it from my website, sleepchambaby.com. I also conduct workshops where I do help or support parents in a group, which I just did last Saturday, and that was really fun. And we focused a lot more about playing games, and then I talked a lot more about variation of games that we could play with the participants' babies, and then also on steps on how we can actually help your baby to sleep. Okay, and then also I have my Sound Asleep private consultation program, which I do either via Skype or at Baby and Beyond Clinic. And that's what I do, which is my most popular program. And I think most of the parents really want that one-to-one help or that really personalized help to help with their situation. It could be a very unique situation, but whatever the unique situation is, I we would find and brainstorm together on what's best for that child. Okay, and different child will respond differently, but the most important thing that you need to focus on is the connection that you offer to your child. Okay, so that's the most important thing. If you were to if you have that, if you have that connection through either laughter, play, or cry, you will start to see improved sleep and also behavior overall. So it's not just about the sleep that we're looking at, it's about also the improved behavior that's happening in the day. All right. I think we have already answered all the questions. If you have a little bit, or if you have more questions, please, I invite you to type in at the, when you see a Rubik cube at the top of your screen or on the right side, I'm not sure, click on that and you see a Q&A box and you can post your question on that thing, on that box right there, and I'll be able to answer that question. Okay, so again, um, the most common sleep issues that I get is that bedtime is horrible. It's stressful. It takes a lot of coaxing, especially for older ones, and there's that bedtime difficulties, and then there's that frequent night waking. Some child or some children, babies, they don't have a problem falling asleep, but they have a problem staying asleep. That's also quite high on the list. Early rising, waking up at say 5 in the morning every day, and they can't seem to sleep back anymore after that. The other thing would be, waking up to play for hours and hours until they decide to, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to go back to sleep. And the other thing is to, having your baby to sleep earlier, because maybe they're going to sleep 11, 12, or maybe 1 or 2 a.m. Yes, I know there are moms out there who are probably going through the same thing as well. Yeah, so any of this is what I usually help, and there's always something that you can do, you can try to play the games that I will be offering you, and also listening to lots of feelings. Okay, so with older children or toddlers, any age that they're able to do something on their own, um, set introducing a loving limit is also equally important. All right. So when a child acts in a very difficult behavior, for example, when they being very difficult to do things and they're being very unreasonable, they're actually asking for our help. Okay. So in the night, if they keep on asking for nursing when you know that they're not nursing for hunger cue, is more of a comfort instead, but you don't really want to go with that anymore, and so it means that they need us to set limits for them. They also would need to know that we care about them. Okay, and it's our caring that is going to put them back on track again. So loving limits also very, very important, equally important as well. All right, so another question from Angeline. Hi, Sarah. I'm going for a holiday next week. Is it better for me to engage you after the trip? Because after holiday, usually my baby will regress again if we fine from this week onwards. Okay. Usually, I would suggest that you might want to go for your holiday first. Well, it depends. How badly do you need this to get sorted? Going back to that sound asleep private consultation program. Excuse me. Let me just take a sip of water. It's a little bit dry. Okay. So in that program, it comes with a 1.5 hour session, the initial session where we would go into a whole lot more discussion and moving forward, things, suggestions to move forward. So if you feel that you need to know that part first and then execute it later when you come back from holiday, which is fine, I can also support you after that as well. I hope that answers your question. But if you wish to do so after your holiday, you get all settled down, that will be better. And then, at least there's some regularity in your baby schedule by then. So that'll be easier as well to work on the sleep challenges. All right. So that has been really fun. And I thank you so much for all the questions that came in prior to this, as well as the one that you're asking live right now. Really, really, truly appreciate it. And I will also put this on a replay. It will be recorded anyway, and you will go on to my YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like, to get more videos later on. And so you can access this anytime that you wish, or those of you who are watching the recorded version of this will know that I will be doing this again. Um, since that I get a lot of questions here already, and from the questions that I get prior to that, the emails that I've been receiving, so I think I'm gonna do this again. All right. So with that, I will end today's session. Thank you so much for being here and for your questions as well. So look out for my next announcement for the next Q&A session. Bye.